Welcome, students, to Rayobyte University's video lecture on the subject of scraping HTML. This is part of our Intro to Web Scraping course, which you can find in full in both written and video form at rayobyte.com/university. But for now, let's turn things over to our Professor of Innovation, Neil Amy, to explain why the heck anyone should care about whatever HTML is.
Thank you, Dean. So for the rest of this course, I need to bring in an expert, and we're bringing in an expert to explain these very topics. His name is Oleg Zaidener. Oleg, tell us what HTML is, please.
Hey, yeah, thank you, Professor, for the good question. So basically, HTML is how today web works, right? Everything, you go to your browser, you go to your Gmail, you go to your news page, even YouTube, if you go view it through your web browser, everything is HTML. So if you want to scrape something, you have to learn HTML.
Got it. Dean, what do you think of that?
Well, it sounds nice, but I don't believe in anything I haven't seen with my own two eyes, which is why I assume I don't have a back.
Of course, Dean. So what we've prepared for this course is a website called pleasescrape.com. It wants you to scrape it. And today, Oleg's going to be showing us how to look at the HTML of a website and what it all means to us. So Oleg, if I can hand it to you, can you kind of walk us through that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So to start and see the real HTML, because now we see the web page as it translated by browser for human consumption, we need to click the right click on any modern browser, and then we can get to developer tools and view page source. And ta-da, this is the HTML part. Does it make sense, Neil?
Yeah, so there's a lot. It's overwhelming to me. I remember my first HTML was when I was maybe 12 years old and in school, and we learned the basics of it. But when I look at this, the modern browser and the modern websites have a lot going on. Can you kind of talk us through a little bit about what we're seeing here, and then tie it to why does what we're seeing here apply to web scraping?
Yeah, sure. So if we get back to the main page, we have this title, extract basic HTML elements. And if we get here, we see much more. So this is a HTML main tag, some SEO, keywords, some links, some JavaScript. We don't need it at this point, right? But this is a part of how you build the modern web applications. But when eventually we can find our, where is it? Yeah, extract basic HTML elements, and we call it H1 tag. So it means it's a like big header, like in Word or Google Doc, you can have something. So, and for scraping, this is what we do. We're looking for the specific parts of the HTML to get the data we want. This title, this text, or this title.
Got it. And like the links, for example, understanding what the links on a page, you could then look at the Ahrefs tag there. And so if we're scraping, we would get this page and we'd look for that tag essentially. Yes. And then we could get all links on a web page, right?
Yes, absolutely. Like we have tags, we have links. Sometimes we need some JavaScripts to find forms for apply. Yeah. This is...
Got it. Okay, Dean, are you following us right here? Does this HTML make sense to you?
I see. So computers don't see web pages the same way we do because they don't have eyes. Or kidneys.
Yes, something like that, Dean. So Oleg, to the main point, this is great and all. We can see the HTML source. It's a bit overwhelming for me, but I assume we're going to get there. So how do we get all this kind of messy looking stuff? How do we bring this HTML to our computer, to our server, so then we can start essentially scraping at scale?
Yeah, it's a good question. This is what we're going to do all our course. And I want to introduce you to the Google Colab, right? This is a platform we will be using here. In general, if you're familiar, it's a Python Jupyter notebook. but if you don't worry, we will give all the source code for you. And in Python, the most common library to just get the HTML, it's called request. Right? In Google Colab, it's installed, but if you run it on your personal computer, you need to run this command pip install requests, and you have it. And then you can use all the Python codes that we will show you.
Got it. So once we have the library, the request library installed, then as I see the code in front of us here, we have to download the page. But as I understand, you can please correct me if I'm wrong, or where you can add some to this, that to access a website, we can use a GET request, an HTTP GET request, and we can use a HTTP POST request, and there's some others as well. How do those play into web scraping, and what are we using here? And just kind of talk about that a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah. So let's go to the example, and then we get to the nuances between GET and POST. So basic flow is you just do import requests. So you'll say Python, this is a library I want to use. And then you say requests.get and URL of the page. Like for example, this page that we tested before, right? And then the library do the magic, basically what your browser is doing, going through HTTP, ask the file and get it back. So if I run this, this is what I get. I get all this doc type, HTML, blah, blah, blah. Everything we saw here,
got it.
It's coming to us.
Okay, awesome. Let me pause there. So students who are watching this, that one line is just an output. It's actually the entire page there is just outputted in one line. Now, hopefully, you students, you can see the power of this. Now we've used software to go out and grab the entire page's content. It's now in our local environment, and now we can start making sense of it. We can pull out certain data and so on and so forth. Did I summarize that well, Oleg?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a first part of any scraping. It's kind of get the information, and then you need to digest it and extract the data you want, right? So at this stage, we did the first part, we get the web page.
Got it. Dean, are you following along up to this point?
I see. So computers don't see web pages the same way we do because they don't have eyes or kidneys.
Yes, something like that, Dean. Oleg, can you explain to us how we go from this HTML source and how we're going to bring that to our computer? What's the technology that goes behind all this?
Yeah, sure. So basically, there is some foundation of a modern internet. This is how your browser or your phone talks to some servers, some Google, Amazon, or something like that. And it's a HTTP protocol. It's been invented many years ago. I don't remember exactly, but this is something that is foundation. And we're going to use it in our Python using the request library. So let me show you the code. And this is a Google Colab, but we will get all this code available to you for download. And basically, if you're familiar with the Python, you use pip install request. This is a library that can speak this HTTP language between client and server, right? And this is how the code looks like. First, you do import requests, right? Get the library, and then it says request get and URL of the page we want to scrape. Right? The same page we used to have here.
So if I may ask, you have requests.get. Can you explain that and the importance of that?
Okay, yeah, it's a very nice point. So HTTP protocol include 4 or 5, if I remember correctly, types of requests. So get and post is two most popular. Get when you ask for some specific page. Oops, it's asking if I'm a human. I am. Yes. So on the get, you get this just page. But in most cases, when we play with the internet, when you fill any form or you do some like play on the YouTube, it's know which video you want to view or something, it's always post, because in post you can put we call it payload, so you can add some information for your request.
Got it. So I mean, it's as simple as what you're hearing. You get information, or if you post it to the sites. If you're entering your data and you're posting it. So in some cases you may need to post data to a website when you're scraping to see more data or log in, which there's a lot of asterisks in logging in. But for the majority of scraping cases, as I would understand it, is we want to get the information from the website so then we can essentially make sense of it. Is that right?
Yeah, get is the easiest one, but in many cases you have to post information like login or token or something to get back some information. So basically it's called post, but it's post and get.
Yeah, sure.
If it's,
Got it.
right.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, please continue on how we go about using this.
Yeah, so let's take a look a little bit more to the code, because it's important to understand if you are learning to scrape at the first time. So we see like request get URL, and we get the response. And inside of the response, there is many parts of it. First of it, it's content. So we can definitely like print the content. And as you can see here, it's exactly the same HTML we saw over here. Right, so
got it. So that one line output is essentially, it's just hidden from our view, but it's that entire page's HTML that we've now downloaded.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's not looks friendly, because but we'll get to it later how to make it.
Got it. Awesome. Better. So now we've programmatically essentially get any information we want. And any website we see on our modern browser, we can make this request and we can download that information, and then eventually we start making sense of it.
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so then I see we have post pulled up here. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this is the second, again, like get and post is the most common example that we will use for scraping. And for the post, you prepare some payload. In this specific case, we use JSON payload. It's very popular nowadays as a JSON. So we have like payload, name, email, age, right? This is some information when you fill any form, and URL. This is where we're going to get it. And we do the same like request, but dot post URL. And we provide the parameter of JSON payload. We didn't do any print.
Yeah, good fix. It's all right.
Let me print it, and we can fix it easy. Boom. So we have this JSON of 200, so it was with response.
Got it. So we have a 200 response code. Can you just quickly explain that, the 200?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we saw here on the response, there could be JSON part of it, could be content, and there is another part of it. It's called status code. And the most important status codes are 200. Everything went well, so it was successful. 404, it's a page not found, and there is a bunch of others, but we need to see 200. This is a successful.
Got it. So if I'm scraping, if I don't get 200, I know something's went wrong. Maybe, but like in the case of 404, that can be valuable to know if, let's say, you're trying to scrape a website and they have broken links, that they have internal links or otherwise, you can see, oh, okay, hey, I have a report. And so there's so many use cases outside of just the 200. But if you are just truly looking for successfully loaded pages, then 200 is the main one you'd be targeting.
Yes, right. So 200 is a success. Everything else needs special care.
Yeah. Got it. Dean, have you been following along here? I saw that we didn't put in your age. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I understand perfectly. A 200 code means you're doing everything right and please proceed. So I'll be very sure to never say the words 200 to you ever again, Professor.
Ouch! Thanks, Dean. Appreciate the gratitude. Today in today's lesson, then we've covered a lot. So we've learned how to HTTP GET information to us in our server. We've learned how to do HTTP POST. All of this being run by Python in the simple requests library. But as you saw, the output that we're getting, that we're downloading the information to our server or our computer, is this full HTML page. It's hard to understand, hard to look at. And so the topic of our next lessons will be understanding how to parse this data. So instead of looking at all this HTML, you're just going to get just maybe one word from the HTML, and that's all you care about. And so that's what's coming up next. So Dean, I turn to you. Did you learn something today?
Well, before today, I used to think that getting my post involved a little mailbox with a flag on it, but now I see it's slightly more complicated. You two have truly opened my kidneys. Students, tune in next time to learn all about parsing with me and the professors. But until then, don't forget to check the description of this video for links that will show you all the code we used today, the written version of this lecture, and many more useful resources.